When you find yourself unable to make forward progress and you have to string out the winch cable to a tree and help yourself along, that's considered single line self-recovery. If you've already read the owner's manual that comes with your winch and are familiar with your winch operation, then the first order of business would be finding a suitable winch anchor. The most common winch anchor is probably a tree. We'll use this one for demonstration purposes. When using a tree for a winch anchor, please always use some sort of tree protector around the tree. You never want to wrap the cable around the tree and hook it back to itself. Not only is it very bad for the tree, but it can also hurt your cable. I always like to use a screw-in type clevis between the strap and the hook. Now you're ready to start dragging out winch cable. And remember, when handling winch cable, it's always a good idea to wear a heavy set of leather gloves. Frays like this one can easily cut your hand wide open. For this type of use, the hook should always be attached open end up. This helps make sure that your load is placed on the body of the hook and not just on the tip. Remember, when selecting a winch anchor, select one that's close enough to have at least 4 or 5 complete wraps of the cable on the drum. This is to ensure that the cable has enough grip on the drum before full tension is applied. If you apply tension with the cable like this, it will most certainly pull off of the drum, leaving you stranded with a broken winch. I would like to backtrack a little bit and talk more about suitable winch anchors. It is best to choose a winch anchor that's directly in line with the direction of travel, even if this means you have to pull out more cable. When choosing a winch anchor, remember, it has to withstand whatever amount of force that you need to get unstuck. If a tree is used, keep in mind the size of the tree, the type of terrain that its roots are growing in, and of course whether the tree is alive or dead. Boulders or another parked trail vehicle can be used as winch anchors. There are also a number of portable winch anchors out in the market for use in open or desert type terrain, but we'll talk about them in another video. Now I would like to explain the dangers of a winch cable under tension. As seen here in this short clip, a winch cable can snap at any time. That is why it's always a good idea to place something over the winch cable to help slow it down or deflect it in case it snaps. The recovery team likes to use this custom-made winch blanket. Other objects can also be used, such as a strap loosely wrapped around the cable, a coat, or a floor mat. In this case, the snatch block was left on the cable to act as a weight. I would also like to remind you that anybody not essential to winch operation should stand clear while the cable is under tension. And remember, the danger zone is a circle equal to the length of cable that is being used. A couple more tips to remember. An electric winch doesn't have a 100% duty cycle, which means an electric winch pulling under a heavy load will heat up very rapidly and could burn out its motor or solenoids. To prevent this from happening, it's a good idea to stop every several feet and give the winch time to cool. This is also a perfect time to inspect how the cable is spooling onto the drum. If the cable is not laying on the drum properly or is all bunched up on one side, it's a very good idea to re-spool it onto the drum to prevent cable damage. One last tip. If you are driving and winching at the same time, be careful not to drive faster than your winch is pulling you. This will help the cable to spool on the drum properly and help keep it in good condition so your winch can rescue you another day. With these tips and some common sense, you should now be able to perform a single line self-recovery safely and successfully.